minutes. We're waiting for a couple of city planning members first. To order the meeting of the Omaha Planning Board. The Planning Board members that are here today are John Sullivan, David Rosacker, Chris Rupert, Patrick Reagan, Patrick Morris, Vice Chair, and I am Michael Pate, Chairman. Members of the city staff that are in attendance today are David Fanslaw, Planning Director, Eric Inkland, Assistant Planning Director, Mike Carter, Current Planning Manager, Jennifer Taylor of the City Law Department, and Clennette, I don't know her last name. Ingram, thank you. Clennette Ingram, Recording Secretary. Our rules of procedures are as follows. Notice of this hearing has been published. Copies of today's agenda are located in the table in front of us. You're welcome to come down and pick one up. The cases on the consent agenda will be heard first. Consent cases have been recommended for layover, have already been heard, or are perceived by the Planning Board to be non-controversial. Therefore, they will be read and voted on without the opportunity for you to state your opinion on the case. If you wish to have this case discussed, during the hearing, you may remove the case from the consent agenda. To do so, when each case is read, I will ask if anyone wants the case removed from consent for discussion. If you do, please stand up and say so, and the case will be removed. This case then will be heard after we vote on the cases that remained on consent. When the case is heard, you will have the opportunity to come to the podium, clearly state your name and address, and give your testimony at that time. When hearing cases on the regular agenda, the board will first hear from the applicant, and after the applicant states their case, we will hear from the proponents, and then we will hear from the opponents. After both sides are heard, the public hearing will be closed, and no additional testimony will be permitted unless a board member requests additional information. When at the podium, please clearly state your name, address, and whom you are representing for the record. Your testimony is very important to us. In the interest of time and courtesy to others, please be short and to the point. We will try to limit each case to 10 minutes. Those directly involved in the case, please speak first. We request that large groups select a spokesperson to represent that group, therefore eliminating any repetitive testimony. When giving testimony, please provide new information and try not to repeat what has previously been said. We do ask that all speakers and others be treated with courtesy and with respect. In that regard, please remain silent while seated, and please turn off your cell phones. Our decision to approve, deny, or continue a case made here today will be forwarded to the City Council for another public hearing and final disposition by City Council. Conditional use permits are an exception to this rule. The board's decision made here today on conditional use permits are final and not forwarded to the City Council. Lastly, upon the advice of the Law Department, all communications to the board members from attorneys or other interested parties should be transmitted through the Planning Department so that they are made part of the public record. The department will then transmit all that information to the board as well as to the rest of the public. A current copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act can be found in the white binder in this room. I don't have any changes to the consent agenda, but before we move on to the consent, I think Dave Fanslaw, our Planning Director, has a few words to say.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Mike. So I want to take this opportunity to let the public know that some of you know our new, one of our employees, Don Seaton. Don worked for the City of Omaha for more than 16 years, a very dedicated employee to the planning department, was a frequent flyer at these planning board hearings representing the department and developers on mainly TIF projects. Unfortunately, Don passed away unexpectedly late last week. And his funeral was his funeral was Monday, that a few of us were able to attend. Don was not only a colleague, but he was a close friend to many of us. He'll be missed by many, including everybody in the planning department who experienced his positive attitude and his smile on a daily basis. Don was very kind and just a very kind man, a great coworker. He'll be sorely missed by the department and everybody that he touched. He was always professional and fair, like I said, and he will be missed by many. So with that news, I mean, like we said, his funeral was Monday. So just please, for those of you who knew Don, please keep him and his family in your thoughts and prayers as we move forward without him. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Dave, very much. Yeah, Don was certainly a great human being, and we will miss him for sure. Thank you, Dave. All right, I don't have any consent agenda changes, so we'll move on to the consent items. The first items I'll read are the items that are on consent for approval. The first one is item 1, KC 10-26-123, C12-26-124. Applicant is John Daly Jr. It's on consent for approval. Request is preliminary plat approval of Cunningham View, a subdivision outside city limits with rezoning from DR to R5. This was laid over from our June 3rd, 2026 meeting. The location is southwest of 78th and State Streets. Would anyone like to have this removed? Okay, next is item 3, KC 326-150. Applicant is Planning Department on behalf of the City of Omaha. It's on consent for approval. The request is approval and amendment to the Interceptor Sewer Master Plan, Arterial Street Improvement Program, ASIP, and Urban Development element of the city's master plan. The location is the City of Omaha and the 3-mile extraterritorial jurisdiction. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next is item C12-26-146. Applicant is Grasshopper Investments LLC on consent for approval. Request is preliminary and final plat approval of Brookside Plaza Replat 2, a minor plat inside city limits. Property is located within an MCC Major Commercial Corridor Overlay District. The location is north of Millard Avenue and P Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next is item 5, KC 10-26-140. Applicant is Chris Allen on consent for approval. The request is rezoning from GI to R5. And the location is 2806 Mormon Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next is item 6, KC 10-26-141. The applicant is Chris Barna on consent for approval. Request is rezoning from DR to R2 to R2. Property is located within an ED Environmental Overlay District. The location is 9909 North 52nd Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next is item 7, KC 10-26-143. Applicant is Irvin and Smith. It's on consent for approval. The request is approval of rezoning from GI to TOD to MX, along with repeal of the ACI Overlay District. Location is 3219 Leavenworth Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next is item 8, KC 11-23-124. The applicant is Dicon Corporation. It's on consent for approval. The request is approval of a major amendment to a PUD, Planned Unit Development Overlay District. The location is 1999 Veterans Drive. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next is item 12, KC 7-26-139. Applicant is Nathaniel Williams on consent for approval. The request is approval of a conditional use permit to allow an accessory dwelling unit in the R4 district. The location is 824 South 35th Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next is item 13, KC 7-26-144. Applicant is High Plains Brew LLC. It's on consent for approval. Request is approval of a conditional use permit to allow a restaurant, drive-in, In the LI district, property is located within an MCC, Major Commercial Corridor Overlay District. The location is 4316 130th Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next is item 14, KC 726-147. The applicant is Open Door Mission. It's on consent for approval. The request is approval of a conditional use permit to allow warehousing and distribution limited in the CC district. The location is southwest of Veterans Drive and Clark Circle. Would anyone like to have this removed? And the last case on for consent approval is KC 7. Item 15, KC 726-148. The request is approval of a conditional use permit to allow surface parking in the NBD district. Property is located within an ACI area of civic importance overlay district. The location is 2601 North 24th Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Okay, that completes the items that are on consent for approval. I have one item that's on consent for layover, and that is item 9, KC 826-142. Applicant is Greg Lieber, on consent for layover. The request is approval of a special use permit to allow scrap and salvage services in the HI district. The location is 10502 North 111th Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Okay, that completes the cases that are on consent for approval and layover. I will first take a motion for those items that are on consent for approval.
Motion to approve case numbers 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, and 15.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Clinette, will you please record the vote?
Morris,
Yes.
Rosacker,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Rupert,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes. Thank you. Next, I need the one case that's on consent for layover. I need a motion for that case, please.
A motion to lay over agenda item number 9.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Clinette, please record the vote.
Morris,
Yes.
Rosacker,
Yes.
Reagan, Sullivan, Rupert,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes. Okay, that was approved as well. So if you were here for any of those cases, you're certainly welcome to stay, but you're free to leave as well, because all those have been approved or approved by our board, okay? Now, we have just 3 cases on the regular agenda for today's meeting. The first one is item 2, case C326-149. The applicant is Planning Department on behalf of the City of Omaha. This request is approval of the Workforce Housing 3-round 2-Fort Circle TIF redevelopment project plan. The location is northeast of Fort Street and North 24th Streets. May we hear from the applicant, please?
Good afternoon, Bridget Hadley, City Planning, members of the Planning Board. Today is the project for the Holy Name Workforce Housing 3, Round 2 TIF project. Holy Name has received some funds from the state that they use for workforce housing, and this is just another one of those projects. And this happens to be in an area as indicated on here. Let me maybe zoom in. Okay, so 24th Street here, Ogden here, and then Florence Boulevard here. So it's 6 lots that will become 6 homes. Single-family construction for workforce housing, and it does comply with the master plan as well as the zoning. It is appropriately zoned for single-family residential. Sorry, I'm a little rusty here. And I think that is all that I need to say. I know that a representative for Holy Name is here, and she may have some things to say, but I would ask for your approval.
Okay, thank you, Bridget.
I guess I do have some renderings of the elevation, front elevation of the home. I mentioned at the pre-planning board meeting that Holy Name is moving toward a smaller footprint and narrower house. Here is an example. Lot size, the width is 42.85 feet, and the length is 120, so fairly narrow that, and there's, getting these homes on those lots, but still achieving the provision of housing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. Are there any other proponents that wish to speak on this?
Good afternoon, Laisha Goodwin, Holy Name Housing, 4324 Fort Street. Just wanted to add additional color to what Miss Bridget already presented about these units. As she mentioned, Holy Name Housing has received middle-income workforce housing dollars from the Nebraska Department of Economic Development. And the cool thing about these funds is that we are able to use them and put them into a revolving loan. So the sale proceeds from the homes go back into the loan fund that we hold to develop additional homes. Just some more specifications. These houses are 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, just over 1,500 square feet with a 1-car garage. We typically list them for $245,000, which is an accessible price range for folks earning a middle income threshold. So for example, a family of 4, that would be about an income of $110,000 a year. Some of the standard public improvements will be landscaping in the right-of-way, increasing the sidewalks and the driveways. Some of the work we've already done to increase the capacity of this development is replatting the farthest west lots here from 1 large lot into 2 50-foot lots to increase the number of homes we could produce. You've seen these elevations. These are examples of the other workforce housing development projects that we've done. So these particular units are currently being constructed on 33rd and Miami Streets, and those will come available to the market pretty soon here. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, nice looking houses for sure there. But real quick question for you. Do you control that revolving loan fund that you referred to and then qualify the applicants as well?
That's correct. So we have all the funds in hand, and effectively Holy Name loans it to the project. We don't need to income verify for this particular loan fund, but we do have restrictions that they must be owner occupied. So this doesn't allow for investors to, flip these units and try to rent them.
And then how do you find the potential occupants for those houses? Do they come to you? They know that you're doing these things?
Yes, we do list them on the market. We have 2 realtors, including myself, in-house at Holy Name, and so we list them on the market and then vet qualified buyers.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other proponents that wish to speak? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Eric?
Yeah, so obviously, we had a lot of discussion in pre-meeting about just TIF in general and affordable housing, and obviously this great project, and thank you, Bridget and Laisha, for a good summary of that. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. We have a motion, or do we have a recommendation? Do I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve the Workforce Housing 3 Round 2 Fort Circle TIF redevelopment project plan.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Clennette, please record the vote.
Morris,
Yes.
Rosacker,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Rupert,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes. Okay, that was approved. Next is item 10, case C826-145. The applicant is Bethany Lutheran Church. The request is approval of a special use permit to allow a daycare general in the R5 district. Property is located within an MCC, Major Commercial Corridor Overlay District. The location is 4200 North 204th Street. May we hear from the applicant, please?
Kyle Hazy with E&A Consulting Group, 10909 Mill Valley Road, representing the applicant, along with myself. Raul Selvdevor is here representing the church, and then Jeremy Carlson with Slate Architecture is here in the audience too, if they have any questions that I'm not able to answer. We are proposing, this is Bethany Church just off of 204th Street, proposing a new 17,000 square foot daycare as shown here. It is It'll be a building that's separate from the existing 68,000 square foot church. The daycare will be licensed to serve up to 164 children with 28 staff members, with some part-time schedules within the children. It can serve up to 268 total children. The operating hours will be Monday through Friday, 7 to 5:30. We agree with all the conditions in the rec report by planning staff, minus the requirement to remove the access point off of 204th Street. So the access point in question is shown right here. This is their main access point off of 204th to the church.
So you'd like to see that remain?
Yes.
Correct.
The staff
Okay.
is recommending that it be removed. We understand the request by the city, but we believe for the existing conditions, the request will cause more harm and traffic congestion and some safety concerns. It'll also draw a whole bunch of, so if we got rid of that access point, that would leave the only access point here off of 207th and then one off of Laramie Street as well. So forcing a lot of that traffic into the existing neighborhood. There is an existing decel right turn lane that goes into the church, so it allows for through traffic, and there is an existing 250-foot decel left turn lane in 204th as well. If we got rid of the left turn into this decel lane into the church, that would then put more pressure of that 250-foot decel lane onto the left turn lane into Laramie Road, which could cause the problem of that backing up into the through lanes as well. St. Pat's currently, for their church or for their school and daycare, their pickup lane is off of Laramie into their parking lot. That currently backs up on their stacking backs up onto Laramie Road as well. So this would be forcing more traffic onto Laramie Road, causing more problems for backup. And then from a safety concern, this is an existing fire station. So that more traffic that we put in front of that fire station, we feel that it could be a safety concern, delaying the response time for the fire station if traffic is backed up. Again, one of the one of the things that were stated within the rep report is to not put any more pressure on the residential neighborhood. We believe that this is something that removing this access point will. Bethany Church has a congregation of about 1,000 people with general attendance on the weekends of up to 800 people that attends their congregation. So we believe that this is not just a detriment to the church, but detriment to the traffic flow in the neighborhood as well. With that, I'll make myself available for any questions you may have.
Is this the request of the church or is the daycare an independent third-party operator?
It is operated by the church.
It is operated by the church?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's already operating, this is just to expand it, right?
There is one within the church currently. This would be a 17,000 square foot building separate by itself.
But same operator that's already in the
Yes.
church, yeah, just to expand it.
How many children is that facility serving today?
Maybe Raul can answer that question better than I can. Is it similar? I don't know.
But it's going to close to 200, I think, with the new facility.
164.
165.
160, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
164.
268, I'm sorry.
164 is what it could handle licensed, but sometimes when you have your part-time schedules, if maybe it's just
Yeah.
daycare from noon to, or 8 to noon or noon to 4, then it could handle up to 268 total children in a day.
But only 100 and some at one time.
Yeah, 164 at one time.
Yeah, my name's Rolf Saldivar. I'm the Director of Resource Operations for Bethany Lutheran Church. And a couple of clarifications. We have a Bethany Christian Academy, which currently operates in the church. So this is, the number of kids aren't going to be significantly greater. We're currently serving about 110 kids now, but it's a daycare preschool. So the daycare we have right now, when we move to that building, would be about 80 kids. The preschool is a preschool that has a number of different areas, and they don't attend every day. Some of them attend Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Some of them may only attend one day. So in terms of number of kids present at the property all at one time, is significant less than the number that's what we call certified or registered through the Health and Human Service. Bethany Church Academy is an affiliate of Bethany Lutheran Church, so it's an independent 501c3, but the board, or the council of Bethany Lutheran Church oversees it and can add or terminate any board members, and that's how it controls Bethany Church Christian Academy. So that's the relationship between the two. So in essence, currently, two of our pastors are ad hoc members of the board of directors for Bethany Christian Academy.
And what's your role, Raul?
What's that?
What's your role in the church?
So in the church, I'm the director of resource operations, which is finance, human resources. I'm also the treasurer of Bethany Christian Academy.
Okay. So I don't know if you can answer this question, but you say there's a church council.
Yes.
That meets regularly.
Yes.
Has the discussion on this happened with the church council as well, specifically relating to the closure of that access point on 204th Street?
We were only made aware of this to the communication yesterday.
Oh.
And so this was the first that we knew that was happening. That was a recommendation anyway.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Raul.
Yeah.
Any other proponents that wish to speak? Seeing none, are there any opponents?
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Ray Salinas. My address is 4411 North 204th Avenue. And my colleague.
Yeah, I'm Felix Resac. I live at 4403 North 204th Avenue. I'm the president of the Homeowners Association of Arbor Ridge 2, which is just north of the church. In fact, my property touches the church. And we are opposed to this, and I'll tell you quite a few different reasons. One, now I heard they're shutting off that one access road for them to get out. That's going to double that road. So what are them people going to do? They're going to go out Ames Street. Ames Street does not have a street light. You can't, right now you can't turn left on Ames almost all the time. It's so busy. 204th is probably went up 5 times since I moved there 8 years ago. You can't get out on that street in the daytime, so you're going to put 165 more vehicles coming into our neighborhood and trying to get out. And where you got another, just a few blocks down the street, you got another church with another daycare with all them vehicles. If you look at it, it's just stacked up down there. And I think this is a bad plan. The only thing I would, even if you did approve it, you'd almost have to put a stoplight on Ames to get them people out. Because they're going to, even when they come out their own entrance, they're going to have a heck of a time getting out of there, especially at that time of day, both evening and morning.
Yeah, there's a lot of development going on north of the proposed site, which is, and this corridor is a 2-lane highway, and right now there's a lot of heavy trucks due to construction that's going on in the area, plus a lot of traffic from the new developments going each way. You cannot get out of our subdivision going north without a lot of trouble, and we just feel, while we're not opposed to the daycare conceptually, we have some very serious concerns about the impact that the traffic is going to have on the residents of our neighborhood.
Is that your main concern is the traffic and the access
Yes.
as well? You had mentioned that there are a number of reasons you might be opposed to it, but I'm just hearing you say maybe it's the traffic.
Well, I think mainly it's the traffic.
Okay.
Because if you go down by the Catholic Church, them streets all down there, in the morning and evening or afternoon. They're just packed with cars. So that's only a couple blocks away. And then them people are trying to get out on Maple Street, which doesn't have a light.
There's less than 1,000 feet between Ames Avenue, which is where we exit our subdivision, and the entrance to Bethany. The concern is that people trying to enter that would create a backup of traffic, which would virtually make it impossible to get out of our subdivision. Right now, we oftentimes have to drive half a mile down to 4th Street just to get out of our subdivision. And the situation with the traffic that we see is only going to complicate matters and make things worse. It's going to be hard to sell our homes, you know, if we choose to do so because of that. So these are the concerns that we have about the proposed site.
So do you both live in the subdivisions? It's just immediately west of the church?
North.
North of the church. So do you get
That
out
little
on,
circle
you go out
there.
on
There's
Ames
30
Avenue
houses
then?
there.
You go out on Ames? Is that where you guys go
Yeah,
out?
we get out on Ames, yeah.
Okay.
So, but even at that, they said about shutting off that other access to get out of the church. Then they're putting everybody on that one access. Getting out on 204th, forget it.
But you think that could also cause an issue if that access stays open of cars trying to get in there? Is
Well,
that what I
it's
heard
just,
you say?
well, you got, just down the road, you got more people.
Well, that's what I'm asking though. Like, are you concerned about cars stacking
Yes.
if that access were to remain
Right.
stacking onto?
Well, I'm telling you, once all them people try to get out, and the Catholics are doing the same thing down there, they're all gonna build up on 204th. They'll back up past Ames because of that light down there on Maple Street. That will not be good.
Okay, I'm going to bring Ryan from Public Works up here in a second. We'll talk about the access here in a bit. But before I do that, I'd like to have Raul maybe come back up.
All righty.
I've got a question for him.
I guess that's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll bring Raul. I just have one quick question. So Raul? And please, just your name and address again for the record.
It's Raul Saldivar.
Okay. So real quick question. So in addition to the regular church services and then the daycare preschool operation that you have, how many events does the church have throughout the week on average?
We have different events. There's some bigger events that happen with, like we had a vacation Bible school happen during the week. But sometime on Wednesday evenings, we have high school kids and middle school kids come in. But those are typically the only time we have those kind of events. So most events happen on Sunday.
Sundays activities?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a quick question for you. Sorry.
Sorry.
So this daycare will have 28 full-time staff. So those are people that will be parked in the parking lot.
Right, but we currently, out of that 28, we already have 20 already hired. So
Okay.
that's already current. So we're only adding about 4
How
or
many
5
other
staff.
people during the week, Monday through Friday, while this is operating for the church, are also parking in the lot?
Well, we have parking, we don't have, we have parking in the back.
Okay.
So it's not in the front.
I'm thinking out loud here, like, you have a lot of parking here, like ways
Right.
to get people to pull in and out and stacking cars, so it's not,
Right, so when we have big events and we have volunteers that come in and help with parking. So we have parking in the back of the church, and we have lots of parking in the front. So currently, that's, the staffing issue isn't an issue
That's
because
not-
they all
okay.
park in the back.
okay. Thank you.
Raul, one more question here.
Sure.
Could, it went pretty quickly for me, so could you just review the governance structure of the decision-making
Absolutely.
that's happening here, and then your consultant is here advising you. What is the owner decision tree on the project, if you could
Okay,
help
thank
us
you.
with that?
So the Bethany Lutheran Church is building the building. So this is be the property of Bethany Lutheran Church, which is their church council, and we've done a fundraising event that's raised close to $5 million for the project. And so we will then lease that particular building to Bethany Christian Academy, and then they will be in the program. It's certified by Health and Human Service. Of course, we go through all the legal requirements for running a preschool daycare, which we currently do in the building. The whole concept is we need, the congregation has grown substantially, and they're taking, the preschool daycare takes a lot of adult ed programs that are happening.
How many representatives are there on the church council?
I think there's 10, roughly in that range. Yeah.
Is there a pastor or executive decision maker?
Yes, we have a lead pastor. His name is John Bustard. He happens to be on sabbatical. He just went on sabbatical. But we have Barb Baumert, who's our president of the council.
Yeah, you said earlier that that the daycare, the academy, if you will, has a separate board, but
yes,
members from Bethany Church Board are also serving on that as well.
Correct.
Okay.
And did you say the council found out, or is it the staff, just yesterday about the access decision?
Yes, that just came
204?
to me yesterday. So I wanted to make sure to be here. That's pretty significant. Everything else looked fine, but when that access it's our main route.
So is it fair to say the council has not had a chance to consider that at this time?
Exactly.
And they're the decision-making body for the project? Is that
Correct.
right? Okay, thank you.
How many members, congregation members do you have in your church approximately?
About 1,000 members.
Good, pretty good size.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's big.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
All right, are there any other opponents? I'll call you back up. Sure, come on up.
You need to give your name again as well.
I'm Felix Resack. I live at 4403 North 204th Avenue. And I was going to point out why they would probably come over to Ames Street, because you can get out back of the, let's see here.
Yeah, it doesn't show.
I live right here. There's an entrance out here. As soon as they come out the back of this thing, they can go right up here, and that Boyd Street actually goes to Ames Street. So if they get too congested here, they're gonna just come out there and they're gonna try to get back out. And they'll go right over to Boyd and right over to Ames and try to get out on 204.
You don't think they'd
It
go,
doesn't go that far to Ames, so. But Ames is right here.
you don't think they'd go out to, what is that street to the south there?
Well, then they'd have to come try to
Laramie?
get back out on Maple. They could go back out to Maple, which is where the Catholics are all parked along here and along here and along here.
But there's Laramie Street there too, just to the south of the church.
Yeah, they could try to go out that way. But that's why they're blocking that off. They wanted to block there must be, I didn't know that, but they must be able to get from the church to Laramie. I didn't know that.
There's a access drive right there to
Is there?
Laramie. Yeah.
And they
Next
must
to that
shut it
white
off, so
shed.
They don't
Oh, I
want
see.
people on Laramie anyway.
No, they're not blocking that off. That'll remain, right?
Not even what they said.
Yeah.
Laramie and 207.
Yep.
Yeah, that's gonna stay open.
Yeah. Oh, it's fire department.
Okay, that's just
Okay,
all.
thank you.
How they get to Ames.
Yeah.
Any other opponents? Okay, you can get yours, okay. All right, I see no other opponents. You want to come up, Ryan, and maybe explain the reasons why that access point on 204th Street is going to be recommended to be closed?
Well,
Name, please.
Ryan Haas, Public Works Department. So we can get into the traffic issues here in a second, but taking a step back, I think you heard that there was maybe an unexpected element of that condition of approval. Would have been ideal to have had a pre-application meeting to discuss this with the applicant ahead of their application to this board. I think there could have been a a better exchange of information, so there's a fuller understanding on the part of staff on how, what staff recommendation would have been in the event of an application to planning board. So we may even have a change in the overall recommendation. Maybe I'll pause here, Eric.
Yeah, let me jump in for a moment. Just the way that the affiliation was described at the podium made me pause and talk to my support staff, of course, behind me. The way that we thought the non-affiliation with the church resulting in requiring the special use permit. However, there was a few things said that, we might be changing our recommendation to layover to allow us time to further have that discussion, because there is a section in the zoning code, and I can read it here when I get a chance to speak, that might consider it an accessory use and not needing the use permit. So I'll pause there. But Ryan, how about you touch on just the traffic and use permits and access generally?
Yeah, and I'll keep it high level at first to just kind of talk about the way that this was set up was essentially that driveway onto 204th is a grandfathered existing condition. It doesn't comply. If this was a cornfield, if this whole area was undeveloped previously and came in now under our jurisdiction, under the set of the framework of the city code and the master plan, that driveway wouldn't be there. It's non-conforming, but the way everything is set up with code and policy and legally, we're not going to go out and close that. Effectively, it's allowed to remain until a certain threshold or triggering event happens. So a major amendment to a special use permit that involves a substantial potential change in traffic or trips, vehicle trips, that's the city's opportunity to say, it's time to bring this up into conformance with the current framework and close that driveway. But up till and including then, that or up to that point, again, it's allowed to be grandfathered and remain in place. So, for example, a few years ago, this came in. I think the only other planning board action on this site, subsequent to the city of Omaha's annexation, was a use permit amendment relating to signage. Well, obviously, that doesn't have anything to do with vehicle trips or traffic. Staff assessed it at that time, said, yeah, there's a nonconformance here, but that's really not commensurate with that level of approval, where certainly a new daycare that triggers a special use permit would be. So that all being said, for better or worse, if this doesn't actually end up needing a use permit amendment, if it's just allowed by right, then the driveway would continue to be allowed to remain. So I don't know if we're going to maybe change course here and recommend layover, maybe that might allow time where this, the rest of the discussion on the ins and outs of traffic and site access here maybe aren't relevant. And, but Eric, what are your thoughts, I guess?
Yeah, so there's a supplemental use section in a part of the zoning code that talks about when you have a daycare services use, when it's considered accessory to, churches, schools, community recreation centers, college and university. There's a handful of use types, and really, when it's accessory, there isn't a provision that it has to be within the building. But obviously the way it's operated and who's operating it is the important component. We have other sites where there are accessory buildings that are on the site that don't need the use permit because of how that's being operated and run and how it's affiliated with that main primary use. But then we also do have other sites that are not affiliated, and they're just basically leasing out space on their site for a completely unrelated user. And so I think the information provided to us, we weren't clear on that. So I think, and you can definitely ask the applicant if there's any timing concerns, but I think it would be best if we changed our recommendation to layover to have that, those further conversations and perhaps get something in writing and how that's the affiliation, how it was described at the podium. So I don't know if that's acceptable to the applicant. Otherwise, we would proceed as recommended.
Okay. I'll ask the applicant, well, you want to come back up, then we want to, thanks, Ryan, for,
That work out.
or Kyle, you don't want, no, Ro.
Steps in.
Again,
Yes, the layover would be
You're
acceptable.
not, sorry, you need your name and
Oh,
address.
Raw Saldivar?
Okay, thank you.
Yes, the layover would be acceptable.
So you're under no time restraints necessarily, I mean, sooner the
No, I
better,
mean,
obviously.
we have time goals, but not time restraints.
Okay, just want to make sure that's okay. Yeah, I personally think that's the right thing to do right now, to be honest with you, just because pragmatically speaking, I don't see the necessity to close that access point if we can avoid closing it. I think it's going to create too many problems within the neighborhood and traffic and everything. So I think just a discussion amongst the church and the planning department, I think, would be probably the way to go with this. That's my opinion. Anybody else want to weigh in before?
We have a recommendation.
Well, not yet, but just,
Sounds good.
okay. I don't know what you're thinking, but it sounds like you're going
Yeah.
to recommend layover.
Yeah, so as I described, and it's not the reasoning for the access or not, it's the affiliation and being able to meet this code section or not, which changes the need for a special use permit potentially. So staff is, well, and I say that, Kyle and the applicant, they can touch base with us, here the rest of this week or early next week. And if it's needed to come back, we can work with you and get that back on next month. But we can have those conversations. Do you have anything to add, Kyle?
Kyle Hazy, ENA Consulting Group. No, we are comfortable with the layover and working with staff and Public Works.
Okay, thank you. So staff, we are officially changing our recommendation to layover.
Okay, thank you.
Recommend layover.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for layover. Cleanup, please record the vote.
Morris,
Yes.
Rosacker,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Rupert,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, good discussion on that. All right, and the final item on the agenda is item 11, KC 790-184. The applicant is Catholic Cemeteries of the Archdiocese of Omaha. The request is approval of a major amendment to a conditional use permit to allow a cemetery in the DR district, along with the waiver to section 55-108, height to allow for a 41-foot tall building. The location is 2424 South 78th Street. May we hear from the applicant?
Good afternoon, members of the board. Joe Zadina, Zadina Consulting, 17516 Rigg Street. Just wanted to maybe set the table briefly. We originally coordinated the submittal with the planning department probably back in March or April. Submitted this amendment as a minor amendment, gave them a chance to review it. They looked at some case history and said, let's make it a major amendment, bring it in front of the planning board. So here we are today. Monday, we received the staff report from planning, agree with all the recommendations. Also Monday evening, we held a 2-hour open house, had some neighbors come in, ironically share some of the same sentiment or noteworthy items as the planning board, or planning department recommendations. So of note, stormwater management. It's a low-lying area where this site development is to occur. I appreciate the planning department sharing some neighbor letters and content with me this morning that I'm still learning. I guess some of these improvements around this area date back to 1965 when this was a golf course. And so we started coordinating with Public Works, but all this probably since about Monday night to today. So I wasn't able to get any real reconciliation, but had good discussion about, sewer in the area. There's actually sewer in the area in one of the rear lots that the city owns and maintains. And so I do want to note too, in reading through some of the neighbors' testimony and concerns, one of them had a great idea, which I think we will adhere to, which is from a stormwater perspective, is just a system inspection. So understanding what we have today, the capacity, the condition, how's it functioning, maintenance of the area. The low-lying area actually sits in a tree-lined area that's kind of hard to out of sight, out of mind. So Deacon Steve and his team have committed to additional maintenance in this area. And then lastly is an engineering study, which is a requirement for any project that we will submit to the City of Omaha, have been since 2008 with the stormwater ordinance. So we'll make sure that we don't add any more flow to the city system than is there today. And we have several different ways of doing that. And this is a tricky little site, so we won't do it without coordination with Public Works. Maybe two other things real quick. Noteworthy trees. There's a tree line along that west side, approximately 35 to 50 foot tall evergreens. We do want to maintain those as much as the neighbors want us to. It's preserves the serenity of the cemetery, also provides a buffer for the neighbors. And then lastly, one of the recommendations is that we get a zoning board of appeals waiver for a mausoleum setback. It's a unique consideration in the zoning code. We're on for that waiver next Thursday at zoning board of appeals. So with me is Deacon Steve, the applicant representative, and then the architect Kevin Straley with BCDM to answer any questions.
Thank you, Joe. Are there any other proponents that wish to speak at all? See none. Are there any opponents that wish to speak on this? If you're planning to speak, if you wouldn't mind just coming forward, that way I know that how many we're going to have speaking, that'd be great. Just have a seat in front somewhere.
Good afternoon. My name's Rob Harding. I live at 2353 South 80th Avenue. I've lived in my house for 34 years, over 34 years. We've had some experiences with Catholic cemeteries in the past. Before I purchased my house, I did some research on how the property was going to be developed. And in planning board minutes from December of 1990, the attorney for Catholic cemeteries stated that there would be an imaginary north-south line dividing the cemetery property, starting at the entrance off West Center, and anything to the east of that imaginary north-south line would be above-ground monuments. Anything west would be flush with the ground. Later, Catholic cemeteries started allowing above-ground monuments above ground in section Q, which is going to be kind of this area. And I brought this back to the city, and in December of 1995, the city planning did an amendment and said that they could allow above-ground monuments in section Q only. I believe that from photographs that I've taken, and I've got packets for everybody if they would like one, they're violating that Second Amendment. So I don't know how you can go forward and do a major amendment when they're in violation again of the amendment that was granted in 1995. So I've got packets that I can share, but those are my main concerns. My main concerns are, it's kind of David versus Goliath. We're middle-class working people who have worked hard for these homes. We have asked them to follow the Planning Commission, and the Planning Board has amended it once before, and we just have concerns about trust issues. And if you grant this major amendment and it's not followed to the letter, once the horse is out of the barn, what repercussions do we have? Those are my main concerns. So I'm going to pass it over to others who have concerns about the tree line, which we also have concerns about for the whole neighborhood. I'm not an arborist, but I believe that a pine tree or trees have a certain root zone that you have to be very cautious of with construction equipment and disturbing that. And when a pine is injured, you're not going to see immediate results that those are injured or they're going to die. But when you have a 40-foot tree, I think the recommendation is not to go within 40 or 80 feet of that tree. And once that buffer is gone, that's been there for over 30 years, the neighborhood will never see that recover in time. So those are my concerns as well.
Okay, thank you.
Would you all like packets with the information?
Might just leave one with Eric here.
Okay, right. Thank you for your time.
Yeah,
Thank you, Rob.
Any other proponents then that wish to speak?
Oops, I'll get out of the way.
Thanks. Any other proponents?
No, please. Are you sure? Okay. If there's anything else I want to add, I'll add it. Otherwise, I'll just stay there.
Name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Frances Ethoffer, and I live at 2603 South 80th Avenue. I've lived on this street for 56 years.
And I am Floyd Rothfuss, and I live right now, I live in Superior, Nebraska. But my daughter took over our house at 2603 South 80th Avenue. And I lived there from 1963 to 2015. And I saw all the waterworks and worked with a lot of people putting the waterworks in. And that's why I'm here today.
Okay.
The first thing that happened really was back in 65. Well, when 63, when we bought the house, we didn't know we had a major water problem. All the water from the cemetery, which was the golf course then, drained down and came on to lot 58, which is ours, and it had to make a right hand. When it came down, it had to make a left-hand turn and go to Center Street, which did not work well. When the city upgraded Center Street, they put in a new sewer system, city sewer system for wastewater, and I saw what they were doing out there, and I went out there and talked to them and got a hold of one of the head engineers from the state, and you can see on the red on this drawing, that's what the state agreed to do to bring it that far, to drain the water off of the cemetery. And so from there on, I worked with the cemetery and the city and the county to get a drain put into the cemetery to pick up that water to put it into the city storm sewer. And that green is a 48-inch line, which helped a lot. And then in, I think it's 1995, they put the other building in up here and further in the cemetery. And when they did that, the water was going to come down there, so I got them to put in a retaining dam, and with a pipe that came down to the drainage problem for the drained into the city sewer, and that was also a great help. And from then on, we still got water from on an overly heavy rain. We got water through our yard, and it really caused a mess. I guess I can't think of anything else to say on that right now.
Was
My
the
daughter,
was the golf course there when you moved in?
when I moved in 1963, it was a golf course.
Okay. So you had problems. Actually, they probably had problems before you moved in there.
Yes, it was always there, and I didn't know it from the people we got the thing from. And that drainage grate that's in the golf course that we put in back in in the 90s.
This is the drainage.
That's a drainage ditch. And I always kept that cleaned off myself. Our daughters, this was one of my daughters, but she's the youngest one. The other two older daughters, they watered the greens, so we had a tripod over the top of the fence so they could water at night, and I wouldn't have to worry about them going up the street and stuff. And so I'd go over that and clean that grate off regularly to keep the water would flow through it. And then you can see now what it's like. It's mostly clogged up. Lack of maintenance from this cemetery now.
That's on the cemetery property.
Yeah, it's on the cemetery property on the inside of their fence, so it's there. It's on their side under those big trees.
And then that's your backyard on the other side of the fence?
Yes,
actually his
yes.
backyard,
Our yard is on the other side of the fence,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. That it?
Okay, what do you have?
Well, back in 1995, when they transitioned the golf course into a cemetery, developers agreed that there's steep slopes all three sides coming down to our spot where the water sits and it has trouble running off. In that time, the engineers did some extensive, precise stormwater routing that was engineered to help our yards from flooding. It helped, but where this massive building is going to be built is like a dam. It's going to make so that natural water that's supposed to flow down to these drainage places are completely blocked. And where's that water going to go? It's going to go completely into our yards. So I'm assuming that's where it's going to go. But this building is completely going to make this water go somewhere else. It's a dam. The natural water source goes down into this area. And there's another drain that is right here, and this is right by Center Street. And this is another drain that's supposed to catch the water too. And if this structure goes right there, the water's not going to get there. It's going to be displaced somewhere else. And all this engineering that was done in 1995 is going to be totally obstruct everything that they've accomplished. And we're going to revert back into the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, and early 90s again from all of this. So I just want my backyard to be dry. Actually, this was from 2 years ago. We had a lot of rain. And that's receding water. You can see our backyard because it just flows right into our backyard. And this is our shed in the backyard, and you can see how high the water actually got up to the shed. And it actually got up to our house, and we did have water in our basement. So this is my biggest concern, is that this building's going to cause huge issues.
Now this drain that she showed there with the little concrete thing on it, that is in the first house on Center Street that the city, not the city, but the state put that drain in. It was on that red part that I showed you, that drain. And it is not being maintained. If you see this picture, that's the drain under this concrete pillar there. So it is not being maintained, and it don't let the water that runs over that grate get out either.
Yeah, Joe referred to a community open house that he had maybe last night or night before last. Were you guys there for that?
Yes, we were there.
Did you ask questions then?
We did. I noticed in the past 2 days that the backyard is getting cleaned up. That's being done. I do request that before any of this is done, that a I don't even know how to pronounce it. What? Yes, be done before all of this is done too. And then someone to come out to make sure that the trees are not going to be destroyed, because I think that if any concrete structure goes too close to the trees, it's going to cause issues to our huge trees. And not to mention the huge building, two-story building behind our house. I don't want to look at that either. And plus they have to raise it because they have to make it level with the road, because it sits down in a culvert. So the rainwater can go there. And it can't go there.
It's going to be interesting on this picture how they're going to drain this, because where this building sits is right here. This is the east side of it, and this is all slopes down on the, you can see this curved road. That's all lawn where the water's going to run down to that point. So how are they going to keep that water even out of their building when it runs into there? I mean, looks to me like the building should go further west.
Did you ask that question last night or whenever that meeting was? Did you ask that question?
He was not at the meeting because he drove in from Superior this morning.
Well, I'll bring Joe back up here in a bit, and maybe you can address that answer, that question for you. Okay.
Actually, yeah, to the south. The building should go more to the south.
Okay, that it?
Is that, or do you want to say something?
Yeah, Todd Ethofer, 2603 South 80th Ave. It says here they're looking for approval for a major amendment on this. We didn't address any of this amendment. I think their amendment is the building's supposed to be 200 feet off the property line. They want to build this building 35 feet off the back of the property line. A 4-story building off 35 feet off the back of our property line. That's crazy. Number two, I think we've showed quite a bit of information here of flooding issues, water issues with this. If you approve this amendment, does that mean the city is responsible for any damages if we was to have more flooding?
Well, Eric will give a comment here after we're done with the testimony. Okay. Any other opponents?
Hi, my name's Brian Ricks. I live at 2527 South 80th Avenue. I'm the lot directly north of the people who just spoke. We've lived there for 11 years. We really enjoy having a cemetery as our neighbors. They're really quiet. They've done a really good job of maintaining the cemetery. During the open house, we did mention that in between the tree line and our houses were the drainages that had not been well maintained for the last few years, and they've moved ahead, taken care of that right away. I just want to add that when we moved in our house, we had water bubble up in our basement anytime it rained. And we spent thousands of dollars putting in French drains. So after we did that, and we have it on all 4 sides of our basement with a sump pump, we've been able to keep our basement dry. But it's really, really important that we don't do anything else, because I don't want my basement to flood anymore. If we can find a way to make sure that there's not going to be any extra water and that we can maintain that tree line, I think it'll be great. But if we don't do that, we're going to have some problems.
Okay. Thank you. Any other opponents?
Hi, I'm Charles McLaughlin, 2615 South 80th Avenue. I'm the house they refer to that's just south of Center Street, right there on the corner. And that drain basin is in, there is a drain basin, about 48-inch drain basin in our backyard that the city has an easement to, and nobody has ever come out there and even looked at the thing. My son lives there, and he goes out there and cleans it after, an event, rain event. My background is underground utilities, so I'm quite familiar with storm retention. And my opinion is that this will probably alleviate some of the water rather than add to it, because I know how detailed the storm detention projects are in Omaha in particular. I've talked to vendors nationally that say Omaha is one of the best storm retentions in the nation. So I think, I'm not here as a proponent to this huge building in my backyard, but my biggest concerns are the height of the building and the tree line. To this point, and I'm not saying that this would change my mind. The cemetery's been great neighbors when we've had issues with the trees in either our yard or on their side of the fence. It's been addressed, and they've worked with us wonderfully. So, again, keeping the tree line and is probably my biggest concern. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Any other opponents then?
I won't speak out on that.
No, I think there's.
Yes, my name is Dave Ramirez, and I live on 2611 South 80th Avenue. I've been there for like about 15 years, and I have a retaining wall in my backyard, and I'm always afraid that the runoff from the cemetery would always cause that issue and go beyond. One thing is that with this new building that they're about to put on or planning to put, is that it seems like that piece of my yard is always going to be dedicated just for the water runoff. And that's all I have to say. I mean, everything is pretty much covered. of what we were talking about here, and I can't repeat it to what I agreed to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other opponents? I know you're itching to come back up. Come on up. Again, your name and address.
Todd Ethofer, 2603 South 80th Ave. We keep talking about this particular tree line here. That tree line sits about from the fence line back to the east about 30 feet out. So they're proposing to put a building 35 feet out from the fence line where the tree line is already sitting at 30 feet. Not quite sure how that's gonna pan out for building on that. And that's, I just wanted to address that.
Got it. Thank you. Any other opponents? Seeing none, Joe, or I don't know if you gentlemen want to come up and say anything too, but Joe probably can address most of these issues.
Hi, hello, Joe Zadina, Zadina Consulting, 17516 Riggs Street. Yeah, I guess I'll say that I think we share some of the same concerns. I mean, it's a tough little spot because it is a low-lying area in the site. That's why the infrastructure's there. We will not modify the natural drainage pattern that is there. There's kind of a swale line along there. I'm confident that we can, as we have in the past, manage the stormwater. Most of this is roof runoff, so we can collect that with piping, and then we can either put it to an expansion of the existing detention area, add another detention area, just as the city would expect. So we will model it, we will calculate it, we will understand it. We don't want to create a dam. I'm a little curious as the condition of the existing infrastructure on site. So we do have a construction manager already selected that we will engage on exploring and TVing and jetting the sewer if necessary, probably trying to figure out how it falls and flows down to the city's infrastructure. It won't be something that we can probably solve on our own. I need to better understand that corner of that lot and just the condition and the intent with the city's infrastructure there, but we'll work with the city on that. As far as the trees go, I do want to acknowledge that we really want those trees there. I mean, they're beautiful. You know, we will do everything we can. I think Deacon Steve may either have someone that specializes in tree health. I don't know if they're actually an arborist. If we need to get an arborist, we can get an arborist to verify the health of the trees and what some of the precautions could be to, you know, do the best we can to manage and maintain those trees. We're not going to get any closer than we have to as a part of the footprint of the building. The setback, interestingly enough, on Zoning Board of Appeals, I just want to mention, that setback that we're trying to get next week is actually for a potential future conversion of office buildings to a mausoleum. Am I saying that correctly? So right now, it plans to operate as an office for the next 20, 25 years. But when the office moves due to the expansion of cemetery property further west, and they don't need those offices, they're needed somewhere else, it's a repurposing of those spaces. And so we talked to the city planning department about this a little bit, and you know, it's a unique ordinance. There's only two things on the cemetery. It was a 15-acre minimum and a 200-foot setback for a mausoleum. We're not sure if that survives and if there's an iteration of the zoning ordinance, but we wanted to ensure that we had permission to do a conversion in a couple of decades if we wanted to. But as of the initial construction, that's not the intent for it, but we're trying to get ahead of it.
So there's no waivers, there's no setback waiver requirement for the use today? Like if you were just to move forward, you wouldn't have to get...
Let me ask for clarification.
The chapel area will have burial crypts in it day one.
Oh, well, okay, excuse me, okay.
The chapel, but what you said.
Okay, come on up. And we'll need your name and address too, sir.
I am Deacon Steve Hill. I'm the director at Catholic Cemeteries. Do you need personal address or the business address?
Business address is fine.
7710 West Center Road. So I'm the director at Catholic Cemeteries. A couple clarifications. Within this building, what we are looking to try to do, it would be a chapel, but within the same building footprint, a chapel area, an office area, some small meeting area space. The intent would be day one, in the chapel area, we would include some burial crypts. So it would be designated, quote, mausoleum. At some point down the road, as cemeteries kind of fill up, our plan is to move and build a new cemetery out west where we have some farmland. When we start doing that, the need for a full office staff at that West Center Road entrance or that West Center Road cemetery is going to kind of shrink. The intent would be as that office shrinks down, that office needs, we'd be able to kind of fill that with mausoleum use.
basically repurposing that building so that it's not going empty, but it would also then be able to kind of generate some additional revenue flow back to the cemeteries as a nonprofit. We want to be able to generate that revenue so we can do the upkeep of the cemeteries.
How far down the road do you anticipate that?
So given our current committals, which is the number of burials we do each year, we would anticipate that's probably in the 25, 30, 35 years is when we would start kind of running tight with the amount of space available kind of in that site. Probably 5 to 10 years in advance of that is when we would start developing that next cemetery. So that's why we're kind of saying probably in that 20 to 30 year time frame is where we would see, other than within that chapel, kind of the office space kind of shrinking down a bit and then starting to use, as we shrink it, kind of use that space for mausoleum use, burial crypt use.
Deacon, while you're up there, one of the testifiers, Rob Harding, had mentioned that there are above-ground headstones in an area of the cemetery that was not previously allowed. Do you know about that? I don't know when those were done.
So my understanding, that was back kind of in that 1990, 1995 timeframe. I've been the director at the cemeteries for roughly 5 years. When I started, I was told that there is a requirement that we not put any upright headstones to the west of our West Center Road, Cemetery Road. It wasn't until we actually got the details of this that it was at kind of that north-south line, and then kind of reading all the detail in section Q, which is within that map, is where we, in that 1995 hearing, the cemetery's employees did end up selling. I don't know if there was a misunderstanding, that was before my time, but they did end up selling upright headstones for that section. We have not gone west of that section. So within that section, my understanding, we had received back in 95 that approval to go ahead and sell in that section, but we have not done anything, further than that. So.
Can I ask some questions about the site plan? I've probably looked at thousands and thousands of site plans over my career, and I don't see a grading plan per se. I see a modified topo with a building placed on it, but I see reference to 36-inch RCP storm sewer, but it doesn't start anywhere, it doesn't go anywhere. I don't understand what that is, so I need to understand that. And then I see reference to these grates and such that the other neighbors have talked about, and it's unclear to me what they're doing, where they're going. I mean, on one of the notes here is unable to locate the end of the pipe, and that's on both ends of the pipe. So I don't know what's going on. Obviously, that has a large bearing on whether that structure is able to handle the water that it needs to, and it's clear from their testimony and some of the pictures it isn't. And so, yes, this will redirect that water, but the water that lands on that roof's got to go somewhere. I don't see where it's going, and I don't understand what that dark gray structure is that's called out as storm sewer.
Can this screen be turned back on, or is it for me to turn on?
There you go.
Okay. So, yeah, thank you for that commentary. So right through here, I'll just circle it. This is that.
Joe, could you push that mic over towards you, the mic?
Oh, yeah. Yes, you bet. Thank you. Okay, so what I just circled there is exactly the photographs you saw of those grate inlets,
Right.
okay? And that is, you're exactly right, that's a little bit confusing to try and figure out where it's going. Ideally, I mean, gravity tells you it's going south to center.
Yeah.
And that's why I said we need to kind of get in here and jet this. The surveyor can only capture what he can capture, so the next round of understanding this infrastructure is to TV this and jet it. I don't know this for sure. It could tie into the corner lot and some of that city sewer system. That's where I've got to work with Public Works. And I, as of like maybe noon today, Carrie in Public Works was feeding me some 1960s drawings there's further verification of where this is going, but I'm also not going to say that I'm comfortable to say that amount of inlets is appropriate. I have to understand the drainage area going to that space. we may want to get rid of that solution and create a better solution, better inlets. Maybe the pipes are undersized. What are the slopes? So it's my job to understand the capacity, what's draining to it, and provide an appropriate solution for drainage, and making sure that we can make that connection. Ultimately, it needs to get out to this sewer system in Center Street, either via an inlet in Center or perhaps even this corner lot, since the city owns it, that we could coordinate with. So further, I wish I knew a bit more. You're right, these are the concerns, but these are the areas of which we'll further study.
And do you know what that structure is that's called out there?
Yeah, they just basically said it's just a series of grade inlets. This looks like a bunch of little Saddle Creek inlets that were all poured together.
But they don't go anywhere. It's like, I guess, and what happens is, if you understand rainfall, it's slower when it's on grass. It doesn't go away. It's slower. Some seeps in. But the more hard surface you add, the quicker things go off. So the instantaneous volume, if you will, is going to be increasing. And if it can't handle it now, just by adding that building, you're going to make it worse.
Right.
And so I know on our recommendation, we talk about I guess a grading plan, which normally with a grading plan, you're going to deal with, what do you do with the runoff and stuff like that.
We do, if I can zoom in, we did do some initial grading. I mean, so these are reflective of contours, so we kind of have a walkout building. So the darker contours are the proposed grade, so it slopes as you walk out. We've even actually graded a retaining wall in on this side to allow. So it is preliminary, right? So I don't have spot elevations, but it's conceptually a grading plan. And it's right, it does drain like a walkout from front to back. And I think the best we can do, and what I'd like to do, is collect the runoff from the rooftop and pipe it, not to just discharge it with gutters, and take it to whatever BMP we decide, whether it's a detention basin or an underground storage system, whatever we can do to capture as much of that runoff as we can. Because I don't want it just flooding the neighbors either. I want to collect it and be deliberate and put it where it needs to go.
So Eric, my question for you is that requirement that we have in your recommendation, is that going to be adequate to get answered solutions to these problems we're talking about?
Yeah, I believe so. Obviously, that's a division within Public Works, and as Joe has described, there has been a lot of correspondence, and there's emails in my inbox, and that the design division is already looking into it further, and they'll have to coordinate with the applicant. But yeah, the condition regarding project must comply with all applicable stormwater management ordinances and policies does cover adequately what the city would need.
Okay, and then the final thing, and it's kind of addressed also in yours, and that's those trees.
Yes, sir.
You can't take a 45-foot tree and put a building within 5 feet of it and have that tree survive. It just won't.
We need to further evaluate that, yes.
So that's going to have to be dealt with.
I don't disagree.
What your proposed solution is, where the building has to move, whether other trees have to be planted or whatever, but that's going to have to be.
And I think that, Eric, if I'm not mistaken, it is also on that recommendation to coordinate any trees be removed, be coordinated for replacement or otherwise with the city. So, I mean, right now, ideally, we're moving one tree because it's in the way of the building. We intend to preserve that row. We like that row just as much as the neighbors. Maybe more, I don't know. But I'm just saying we want to preserve as much as we can. You can't just go buy a tree like that and put that in tomorrow. I mean, that's a generational thing, so.
Joe, I have a question for you in a second, and possibly for Mr. Straley related to the schedule of this project.
Yes.
But first, I want to say to the owners, who've been long suffering on this issue for, it sounds like, about 60 years, and thank you, Floyd and Francis, for a little bit of the history lesson. But what I want to say to the owners, including Mr. Harding, who I know, is that if I were to hire 2 consultants to solve this issue and actually improve your lives and make it better, it would very likely be the 2 consultants who are working for this particular owner, who I've known through long-standing professional work. That said, we have some questions for them. So, Joe,
yes, sir.
This might be the tougher one. So let's say through your next stage of discovery, we discover that there's some work that may be required by the city or that the owner expects of the city. What's your confidence level that that work could be funded in a kind of reasonable time frame or negotiated with the city?
The proximity to the drainage where it's collecting to where we're trying to connect is short enough, I'll say, that I think economically there's a feasible solution. If those inlets are plugged and they're not functioning, we either clean them or we build appropriate inlets, appropriate pipe. This is the time probably to study it properly and understand exactly what's draining to it and the volumes. And I think, Deacon Steve, you'd be committed to, infrastructure upgrades, storm sewer upgrades, if we find out that it's currently undersized. And so we would likely include that as a part of the project. It's our responsibility, I believe, to do that.
Included as project cost.
Yes, sir.
And that's in the easement?
It may get down to the easement. That's where you had indicated, where does it go? I'm gonna think it perhaps goes there. There might be another inlet in Center Street that it taps into. I have to confirm and TV that pipe to figure out.
So the extension to that question
Yes,
is, presuming there is some negotiated agreement and the ability to accomplish that work,
Yes.
is there any schedule pressure on this project that starts to interfere with? There's some flexibility.
Need your name and address, sir.
Kevin Straley, BCDM Architects, 1015 North 98th Street. Currently, our plan, obviously, moving forward is pending on the outcome of this meeting today and hearing, as well as next week. With favorable outcomes, we will continue on into design, additional stages of design. It is not our intent currently where we sit in the season to start any work this year. It'll be work next spring in which we begin.
Okay.
Thank you.
I totally agree with Mr. Sullivan's comments about the work these gentlemen are doing. Certainly know them well, and Catholic cemeteries I know well as well. And I think the neighbors have testified here today that you've been good neighbors as well, and will do what you need to do to make it right. And so I'm encouraged by that kind of dialogue and ongoing dialogue as you go forward. And this is the time.
Yes, sir.
Right, to make those changes that need to be made. So I'm encouraged by that at least. All right, any other opponents? Briefly, please, sir. If you need to come up, come on up, just briefly. And new testimony. If you
I'm Floyd Roffus at 2603 South 80th Avenue in Omaha. That's where I did live. I presently live in Superior, Nebraska. I heard your statement on this not being able to find this pipe on this drawing. There was never a pipe there to be found. I got this whole pamphlet of literature from the state and the county and the cemetery that I've collected through the years. I spent a lot of time on this project, and we're not against them building this. It's just the fact that the water has got to be controlled.
It'll probably be good for him to see that
information. I imagine Joe will want to get with you and get that information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other opponents? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. I know, I'm done. Eric, please.
Yeah. So a few items. I know Joe Zadina had mentioned this, but regarding the setbacks, as far as the normal required setback distance from the building that does not need any waiver, that is compliant with the zoning code, there is this provision, which is unique in our zoning code, about the mausoleums needing to be 200 feet back from property line, which is strange to me. I've not come across this. Of course, we don't do a lot of cemetery work, but I don't know if the original writers of the zoning code were envisioning some type of New Orleans type cemetery with, large crypts. I don't know, because it doesn't make sense to me when you could have actual, burial sites that are much closer than, there's no setback requirement for that. And, mausoleums, there's really no external effects. They're within a building. So, it's for this reasonings, we are supportive of that waiver at the Zoning Board of Appeals. But that being said, if there was no mausoleum component, the building is compliant with setbacks in the base zoning district. Also regarding height, so with the use permit, there is a height waiver that is being supported. I would say staff was cautiously included that just because of the grading differences. It may be that the height waiver is not even necessary because the building is generally 35 feet in height, which is compliant with low-density residential districts, all residential districts, including the adjacent single-family neighborhood. But for sake of grading and some of the images and information, we applied that, but we are supportive of those with civic uses within residential districts, such as churches, schools that we frequently see at this board. So we are supportive of that. That's built into the use permit, but does not need to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals. I think there's been a lot of talk, of course, about the water and drainage issues, and of course, the city wants, to make sure that we have the best situation as possible. As I mentioned a short time ago, there's already city staff looking into it further and looking into some of the historical information, but we'll need to continue to coordinate with the engineer and the applicant. And, I don't know the history on sewer maintenance attending the site and on what the city infrastructure in that small piece there on the southwest portion of the site. So, we're there to help and to continue to look into the information, but I'm not the individual to, comment much further. But I can say that we are definitely looking into it and will continue to do so throughout the entitlement process and permitting process. Yes, we'd like to see as many trees saved as possible. There is, as part of the condition, that if approved as part of the building permit submittal, there will need to be a detailed grading plan and updated landscaping plan if there are any trees to be removed. Of course, we encourage the retention of the trees and think that's a great benefit for the site in general and the neighboring properties. I think that's all that I have, unless there's any specific questions from the board. I'll read the city's recommendation. Approval of the waiver to section 55-108 height to allow for a 41-foot tall building. Approval of the major amendment to the conditional use permit to allow cemetery in the DR district, subject to the 8 conditions in the recommendation report.
Thank you. Any questions for Eric? If not, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
You want to read the motion in entirety?
So the approval of a major amendment to a conditional use permit to allow a cemetery in the DR district subject to conditions 1 through 8, and approval of a waiver to section 55-108 height to allow for a 41-foot tall building.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Lynette, please record the vote.
Morris,
Yes.
Rosacker,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Rupert,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes. Thank you. It's approved. So good luck. Continue dialogue. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
With that, I'll need a motion to approve the pre-minute and regular meeting minutes from June 3rd.
A motion to approve the pre-minutes and regular meeting minutes for the planning board meeting on June 3rd.
Patrick, you can abstain. You just abstain on this vote. Okay. Okay. Lynette, please. Someone second it?
Yes.
Okay.
Morris,
Yes.
Rosacker,
Abstain.
Reagan,
Abstain.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Rupert,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes. Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Thank you.
So
Lynette,
try to
please
let
record the
Pat have
vote.
that one.
Yeah.
Get him
that
on the
was-
record.
That was yours.
I'll just say happy 4th.
Please
Call
record
the
the
roll
vote.
for the- Okay. Morris,
Yes.
Rosacker,
Yes.
Reagan,
Yeah.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Rupert, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.